I wanted to put together a simple guide to help anyone looking to purchase a good theater surround AV receiver from Goodwill or other discount store. As you can see here, as of 8/12/22, the starting price is very low on shopgoodwill.com, and most of these 7.2 amps will go for under $50. I also have other videos that talk about my theater, and in my theater I have a good Sony surround sound system, and this is another one that was my original, and it is a backup. One of the things though is that it takes a little bit of just understanding of what all of this does. So I'm going to just point out some of the features that this Onkyo amplifier has, and maybe what it doesn't have. This way you can kind of, if you go to Goodwill or you go to a pawn shop or you go to some secondhand store, it is very common now to find these receivers in these places, because people are getting rid of their Blu-ray players and they're getting rid of their surround sound systems. They're just kind of simplifying. But at this point, there's still no better way to have a true cinematic experience with surround sound than to have a true amplifier that is a true surround sound, one that is built for THX or for, any of the true surround sound. Let me just kind of go over this and maybe help you to pick out one for yourself. Because you'll see a lot of them, and there are certain things that will tell you right away if it's something you want to potentially pick up or if it's something that you want to maybe steer clear of. So this system here is a really good one. The first thing that you'll notice when you go to pick it up is it's very heavy. The components in it are very well built. They're made out of real quality, and you can feel it because of the weight of the actual system. If you pick it up and it's really light, it's probably a little bit lower quality. You still get good experience, but a little lower quality. So one of the things about this is the front. You can tell right away when you look at it some of the features that it has. So you'll see it says standby and zone 2. And here's a zone 2 button. Those let you know that this thing has 2 different zones that you can have. So for example, you could have speakers set up that are just to play kind of the music when you come into the theater, so that it's just kind of like always playing in the background, but it's not being channeled through all of the speakers and having to take both the power and the breaking it all up. If it's something that's simple like music that is kind of background music, or if you had it in another area of the house or in like a lobby or something, then when you're playing something through your receiver, through your amplifier, you could simply select zone 2, and it changes so that the speakers that you're actually going to hear it through are going to be those smaller or just simple speaker setup and not your full surround sound. So when you see those zones, you can have multiple zones on them, which is pretty cool. In here you'll have volume level for that zone. You've got tones, movie or TV. It says listening mode. So like right away you say, on a listening mode, this is saying, is this something that should be more like a TV program or a movie? That's a big deal, because if the actual audio quality is set up to be just listen to on a TV, sometimes it can sound really weird coming through a 7 channel surround sound. So you can select that to just say, okay, I'm just listening to the TV. It evens out the sound and makes it sound much more normal. Am I listening to music? Am I playing games? Is this backlit on the actual display? I have a dimmer switch here that I can click to drop that down. A lot of these features will also be on the remote. If you go to buy one and it doesn't have a remote, that's usually not a big deal. You've got the actual model number, and you can usually go right on eBay or Amazon and look up that model number and type in remote and find the remote for it. You've got tuning modes for memory and stuff, so that you could program the actual FM, AM channels and things of that nature, or to change the display of what you're actually seeing here. So that's kind of a breakdown of what all those buttons do. And most of these AV amplifiers will have these features or some subset of them. You got your tuning and preset, because it has a built-in AM FM radio, that kind of thing. So you got to be able to tune it or to go to the presets and set those up. You also have your master volume knob. It's very important, of course, that that it be complete. Sometimes you find them and this knob's pulled off or something and it's missing or whatever. Some of the other features on the front that's going to be important to notice is that it has an HDMI directly on the front, auxiliary input, and then you have over here the RCA form, which would be just your yellow, red, and white, left and right. If it just has this, then it's probably a little older, and if it doesn't have an HDMI input. So some of these newer technologies is what you're looking for. If it doesn't have an HDMI input, then it's probably an older and maybe won't suit your needs very well. So also you'll see here it's got portable. So this would be for like a MP3 player or something that you just plug directly in, switch it over, and then you listen directly through it. Then this is one feature that's on this one because this one does not have built-in Bluetooth. That doesn't mean I can't connect a Bluetooth dongle to it and use Bluetooth, so that's not a big, issue, but that's the difference. This one has the portable jack, quarter-inch jack or whatever, so that you can actually plug in your MP3 player or whatnot to it. Also, it has a headphones, so you could listen to the same quality through headphones. Some of those are just nice features if you have a reason to have it. But this is one that's important too. This is a set, but there's also, you'll notice down here, it's kind of hard to see, but on the bottom here, it's got Dolby True, it's got Pro Logic. It tells you it's got DTS HD, Master Audio, DTS Surround Sensation. It's got, of course, some of the cinema filter, but then other technologies like HD radio, Sirius radio ready so that you can connect on to that, Pandora, other things. So that just tells you that it has a connectivity so that it can have all these different technologies. So as you get familiar with those and start to like having those features, then you're going to look for these type of AV receivers that actually have these features in them. Another thing is kind of a telltale sign is if you look across these here in the front, you're going to notice it has DVD/Blu-ray. So that tells you the age of it. When you don't see a BD for Blu-ray disc or these kind of things, and it's cable, satellite, but you have stuff like TV and tape, CD port, some of these are older technologies, some are newer technologies. If you don't see these newer ones, that's a telltale sign right away that it's an older receiver that was out prior to maybe Blu-ray, things of that nature. So I'm always looking to see, does it have cable, satellite, Blu-ray, and those type of things, and modern technology, Pandora, things like that, Spotify. You'll see those kind of stickers and other things on them. It'll let you know that it's a much more up-to-date type of system. So let's take a look at the other side, and this is probably even more important than looking at the front. This is going to give you information. You may not be familiar with the actual model number to know exactly which model this is, but being able to tell how new it is and what features it has is a big deal. So let's start from right to left, because this is one of the main parts that I usually look for. Is that if I'm picking up a receiver, of course, down here it tells the actual model number for the receiver. So you could go right online and you could look up that model number and it would just tell you all of the features that it has. But even without looking at that, I can tell right away, I like these type of connectors. You can take these type of connectors and you can run your wire through there, tighten it down, and on each of your sets of speaker wires, and then these will plug in directly to here so that you don't have to do the crazy, putting the wire on each one of these inside and tightening it up and stuff, which makes it really kind of difficult. So in my opinion, most of the higher end receivers will have this type of connector. So most of the ones that have these little connectors right here, they're a little more flimsy, they have little springs in there, more prone to breaking and things. So I tend to, look for receivers like this. But here, this right here is one of the things you're going to look for. If you look on Shop Goodwill, or you go to a Goodwill or to a pawn shop and you look at the back of this, for myself personally, if I don't see this setup of connectors for speakers, then I usually pass on it. Because whenever you find a 5.1 surround system, it's going to be missing these ports here, these connectors. It's only going to have your center channel, your front left and right, and then your surround left and right. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got your subwoofer. So that's your 5.1. But in the case of this, you can see automatically, if you just are familiar with that, it will tell you that these are surround back speakers or front high speakers. So whenever you go in, by default, this will be set up one way or the other as a 5.1 or a 7.2. But whenever you get these, you can change it over to a 7 plus system. So you can see you have your center channel, front, left and right speakers, and then if you are setting this up, then what will happen is that when you change it to a 7.1, then one will become your side speakers. One set will be side speakers, so front, side, and then your rear surround speakers. So, the other ones won't work until you change the configuration, which on these, they come up on the screen, and you just select the settings and say, turn it to a 7.2 or whatever, and then it will activate all of these, and the sound will be channeled so that you have your true center channel, front, left, and right, your two side speakers, and your surround back. Now, that was a problem for me when I was actually trying to buy one and then trying to set it up. I was like, why isn't this working as a 7 surround sound? I'm not hearing it right. And that was because you have to go into the setup and change it to say, I want to use these speakers as the side speakers, because it shifts them from being your surround speakers to being your side speakers, and then these become the back surround speakers versus these, and these become your side speakers, like is in my theater. Also, this right here has the pre-out subwoofer. When you see that pre-out, it's telling you that these are not powered. This is you can't have just passive subwoofer. It has to be a powered subwoofer. And in this case, it's got two. And on mine, you can even split this multiple times, and you can have a 7.1, 7.2. 7.4, you're going to split that and then you can have multiple speakers because they're powered. They don't require a whole lot because you can turn them up individually and kind of balance them out. So mine has a 7.3, so I have one of these split. So I have two bass in this front and one large one in the back of the room. Also, this is your zone speakers for zone 2. So the smaller speakers that don't require such high power, they go onto these connectors for left and right, and that puts those speakers to where when you hit that zone button, it transfers the sound from here to these speakers so that it's like I already explained. The other thing is that you got to line out in case you want to transfer that thing to another system or something. That's what these are for. You got this universal port. You can buy a universal port connector for like an Apple or other device or another type of equipment. So that's what that's for. It would plug in here and have another end on it that would plug in like a lightning port or something for an Apple device, things like that. So that's just a nice feature. Some of the things that I always like to see on these are, of course, lots of HDMI. It tells you on here DVD, Blu-ray, and whatnot. You'll also find, like on my other one, it has actually a 4K. These would all be at least 1080, but the one I have in there actually has a 4K, even though I don't really use any 4K. I use all 1080. But it tells you right here that it's for the DVD, Blu-ray. So whatever you plug into here matches on the front when you hit the button. There it goes, and then everything goes out from here to your TV or to your your video source or projector, that kind of thing. So I like having lots of connectors so you can plug them directly in and select them from the front. So if you're not very familiar with, here's just a couple other. So this is for, a Sirius XM radio. This is the port for that. You plug in here. If you had an infrared remote that you needed to control with, you plug it in here. Now, these four here are your optical. It says game and then CD2. So this is for if you're bringing in the sound for a CD or a game, then you connect them on through here. That's for an optical in. The cable's clear, or it uses light to transmit the actual signal. Whereas these two here, you'll see that it says DVD and Blu-ray disc. So this is most likely going to be a Blu-ray disc player that has a coax or an RCA type in that connects onto here to the back of your Blu-ray player, that kind of thing. This way, if you're not having that, because all of your video and sound come through the HDMI traditionally, but if you have an older one that doesn't have HDMI and you're using a component which just matches the color and the sound, or the RCA, which has the one video and the left and right sound, that's what these are all for, then you would be able to connect onto these if it was whatever you plugged into the DVD Blu-ray player port on it, which is here. This could be connected, and then your source for your sound would come here. And it says it's assignable, so you can choose those things. Cable and satellite on this one. But this way you've got older systems, a little newer systems, some of the newest systems. So it's kind of like progression to better technology for the newer stuff. So you have all that, and if you're going to listen to radio on the receiver, amplifier, you're going to have to connect a coax antenna. So that'll be an antenna, and it will have a connection like this, kind of like your cable TV does, that you just plug onto there so you can get your FM. And on this one, you would have one that plugs into these two little wires here to get your AM stations to tune in. I hope that helps, just to kind of give you an overview of what you're looking for. My big things are what is the newest technology that this has. In this case, this has HDMI, which in this case would be, true HD or better. A lot of them, it will say that they're 4K right here on the thing, so hey, that's a pretty new system. Also, that it doesn't just have these, that it has truly all of the connectors, so we can have a true 7-point system to have a 7.12 surround sound. And the last thing I'll kind of leave you with is this. It says, speaker impedance, 6 ohms to 16 ohm speakers. So it's telling you, you want to try to keep those balanced, and also that the speakers can range anywhere in there, and this system can handle that. You can tell usually if it has a Bluetooth function, because it will have an antenna, 1 or 2 antennas back here that can pop up. And that's just nice if you have an Apple device or something and you're just going to stream music to it directly. Having that Bluetooth like my other one does is a really nice feature to have. Also, if on here, a lot of times you'll have a network RJ45 connection jack that lets you plug this in directly to the network, and then you can access features and stuff from your computer. This one I probably paid $15 for, something of that cost at our local Goodwill store. I hope this video helps you to see what's possible. Good luck finding your own receiver at a great price at a local discount store or somewhere near you. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up or comment below. This is what keeps us growing. I'm Joe, and this is Good to Know Tech.